Welcome back to this month's Roundtable, your all-in-one comprehensive view of what's happening across the real estate industry, straight from some of the industry's earliest technology adopters and foremost experts in technology, marketing, brokerage, government policy, capital construction, and cybersecurity. As always, this is a three-part show. Part one, introductions and what's new for each of our Roundtable hosts in their business sector. Part two, sector focus. We unpack the past month's biggest news and paradigm shifts. And part three, what does this mean for your real estate businesses and what can you do for the next 30 days to outpace your competition? I'm Andreas Senie, founder, CRE Collaborative, brokerage owner of EST Properties and technology growth strategist. Joining me this month is none other than Dan Wagner, Inland VP Government Relations, and the best holiday outdoor designer. You know, he keeps winning our awards. 8-foot bunny, I think. Dan, welcome back. Nice to have you.
Great to be here. Thank you so much, Andreas.
Love it. I want to picture the bunny for next month's show. And not just Dan, but Rebekah Carlson, also coming out of Chicago, President Carlson Integrated. We're heavy on Chicago today, so I'm going to carry Connecticut, and I will channel my inner Saul. Don't worry. Rebekah, nice to see you as well. Welcome back.
Fantastic to be here. Great to see you guys.
It is International Fact Check Day, so this is going to be quite a conversation as we move through. I want to give my best, or rather give Saul's best, Darren's best, and Chris' best to our audience of over 6,000 strong now. They could not make it tonight, but we'll do our best to walk us through. So, as always, or rather to my right, Dan, you're in the Brady Bunch window. What is the latest and greatest out of your neck of the woods?
Well, I will tell you, obviously you mentioned it is the holiday for us here, and we are decorating for all of Easter, and we have an 8-foot bunny that'll be coming tomorrow for all the neighborhood kids. So we're excited about that. So we always focus on being positive and fun at this time. But I will tell you, I'm going to talk about what's going on with institutional money out there and what's happening in Washington. So that's going to be my discussion.
Please. And not only do you have award-winning displays at your house, but you're also up for an award coming soon.
Yeah. So I'm really honored with the Inland Real Estate Group. We are the founding organization to recreate the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Breakfast at DuPage County. And the first year we did it was 3 years ago. We had 1,200 people. In the last 2 years, we've had 1,400 people. And I'm going to be going to Atlanta next week to Morehouse College, where we're going to be inducted into the Martin Luther King Jr. College of Ministers and Laity for the Martin Luther King Jr. Board of Sponsors at Morehouse College. So I'm very honored, and we get to meet Dr. King's children, and we're going to go see all of the different sites that the family's going to show us there. So I just can't wait to go.
So, and while you don't have Martin Luther King behind you today, that's because Inland is moving.
Yeah,
you're in the middle of the storm, but we're excited to hear more facts when you come back from that.
Okay.
So, interesting enough. Now, Chicago heavy. Rebekah, what's the latest and greatest out of Chicago on your end?
Outside of the incredibly tumultuous spring weather, we are likewise experiencing a little bit of a tumultuous real estate market this first quarter of 2026. So there will be plenty to talk about there, and it's very interesting to get feedback from boots on the ground to what they're seeing within the environment. And I think we're going to have a really great conversation today.
Pathways to profitability, as I tell my team and others, don't complain, criticize, or blame. Complainers don't produce, and producers don't complain. And we're plenty busy. Businesses get bigger, they get smaller, but still transactions all day long.
Yes.
So unless the government stops us. So I guess that over to you, Dan.
100%.
That could never happen.
Well,
go ahead.
So the what's going on is that the world of populism is popping up in Washington, and we saw a bill pass the Senate that Republican Tim Scott and Democrat Elizabeth Warren sponsored. It's passed the Senate. but it has not. That house hasn't taken it up yet. But basically, it's for affordable housing concept, which is a good concept. But one part of it, small part of it, wants to limit institutional investors from being able to own, build to rent homes for more than 7 years, and then you'll have to sell them. And so we are working to try to get that out of the bill. One of the thoughts that people have is that the first time homes are being bought up and by institutional investors, and so they are concerned that that's stopping the first time home buyers from being able to get into a home. But one of the realities is that the interest rates are the big cause of all that. So you've gone from 3 to 6 to 7%, and basically you're doubling a house payment for people, and that's a big reason. And then the other reason is the lock-in effect of people that currently own homes aren't wanting to sell because they don't want to get into, jump out of their 3% into a 6%. And so that's really, what the cause is. And the easy thing in Washington is that for the politicians to be like, aha, look, it's the institutional investors and the institutional, large institutional companies, I think own, the last time I looked, less than 1% or just 1% of the whole inventory for homes. And so it's clearly that's not the issue, but we're hoping to slow everything down in Washington and have a discussion with one of the House committees who hopefully will make it go into conference committee. But that's a big thing as far as people looking at institutional money as a negative, which is one of the first times I've ever heard that in my lifetime in business.
Who doesn't want a blue chip investor? Who doesn't want, quality partners? And I think that's the Road to Housing Act, right? So temporary prohibition on, and I do get it. Here in Connecticut, we had a swath of institutions show up, sometimes called iBuyers, buying up all the single family homes. But that isn't the thing, in my opinion, driving affordability out of a workable range. There's so much more to it. So
yes,
I stay away from housing as best I can, and there's so much out there. But I know we've got to talk 1031 as well.
Hold on a second. Are you saying that the legislators should fact check the information that they're giving?
Saying that on fact check.
Hold on a second here.
Maybe focus on other topics, right?
Good point. Very good.
Well, to be fair, we've got the maritime opportunity zones have been brought forward. There's revitalizing empty structures. There is actually a lot going on. And Dan, not to put you on the spot, because you know more about all this than I do. I just know the little bits.
Yeah.
What else is going on over in the Senate and at the White House?
So the other thing is the rules being made about opportunity zones, and that's kind of a big thing, obviously, in our commercial real estate world, because opportunity zones are really good for people that have the capital gains on stocks and bonds and things like that. 1031 is still there. I mean, still the most important thing for real property, but opportunity zones really give a way for underserved areas of communities to get investment put into them. And so if you could put in a long-term investment, about 3 years or so, or even longer, you're able to then hold an asset into one of these opportunity zones, and you're able to then, if it's held long enough, and they're working out all the details of all that, then you'll be able to have your growth, the gain, to be tax-free. So the opportunity zones is a big, wonderful way to gain more bang for your buck with the capital gains issues. The second thing is the 1031 is always so important for everybody to have for investing. We see that some of the progressive folks are interested in, again, attacking the 1031, and right now there's a bill that my congresswoman, actually Delia Ramirez, I live in Wheaton, Illinois, and she represents Chicago and out into the suburbs, about 20 miles away. She is put a bill in to eliminate the 1031, and obviously right now nothing's going to happen with that. And but it's something that we're working with her staff, and we're also talking to some of the union leaders, because they understand how important the 1031 is to unions to be able to build things, because there's the lack of effect if you don't have the 1031. And then a lot of unions also invest in REITs for their pension funds, and REITs would be negatively impacted in regards to the returns people get for the pension funds. And there's nothing more important to a union than to take care of their pensioners. And so it's an important thing too. But the 1031 is such an important part of our commercial real estate world. And we are going to be, again, going in April, at the middle part of April. It's already April, I guess. We're going to be hitting Washington with a variety of organizations, but one of them is the Federation of Exchange Accommodators, which is for the qualified intermediaries. Another one is the Institute for Portfolio Alternatives. That's the national organization for companies like Inland. And then the other organization is NAREIT. They keep the REIT torch going. They're the ones that protect REIT investing, and REIT investing is, again, a wonderful opportunity for Main Street America to be able to get into big national portfolios of big real estate. So it kind of is the democratization of real estate is what a REIT is. And we're really proud of our history of working with REITs, and we can't wait to go from there.
Well, Inland created the DST. You have multiple REITs, and just since we brought up fact checking, Becca, the timing of it all, right? So we have intergenerational transfer of wealth occurring, the largest in history, 84 to 124 trillion dollars by 2040. What does that actually mean? And in line with what Dan's saying, it's more opportunities to buy assets. It's a shift from people that won't sell, right? These older owners, and now those assets coming to their children, and them being ready, willing, and able to sell off and take limited positions or passive positions all across the U.S. So the 1031, and I'll never forget when you said it to me once, the 1031 DST is the 401k of commercial real estate.
100%.
It helps the farmers get out and get paid and move forward, and it's just an incredible time. Speaking of DSTs, REITs, and all of the above, last I checked, Rebekah Carlson Integrated is pretty heavy-handed in this market. Your clients a large part of your clients are exactly that. So what are you seeing on your side?
So we're seeing a lot of activity. And the reason I talked a little bit about kind of the tumultuousness of the market was because I hosted a broker breakfast a couple of weeks ago. And the feedback from the brokers and from kind of the word on the street was fascinating, in that larger companies are less affected from a transaction speed standpoint, but those companies or users, if you would want to call them that are at kind of the under $2.5 million level, are really facing challenges. And the interesting part to me was that it wasn't on the financing side. It wasn't on the due diligence side. I had vendors, I had lenders. My breakfast was full of every aspect of a transaction, and even the attorneys in the room, right? So we really had a full deal team here. They all said that none of the slowdown and none of the hiccups are with them. It's almost like public perception or like breaking news that's scary stops every deal for a couple of weeks till everybody's like, okay, all right, I think we're okay. And then then they start working again and try to speed up. And then something else comes up on the news and they're like, So it's almost this just kind of generalized sentiment and how that's impacting. And one of my brokers in the room has been a leading broker in Chicago. She's phenomenal for 30 years. She said, I've never seen a market like this. It's so strange. So that leasing space. So if you have a national user, they're not experiencing these same kind of hiccups, but like franchisees are experiencing those hiccups because there's just been so much uncertainty. And we do hope that, every market has opportunity. Uncertainty breeds opportunity. So there are ways to maximize it. And like you said, Andreas, it's not that there aren't transactions. They're just having these strange slowdown phases within them, is my understanding from the boots on the street. That being said, my clients that are investors are raising capital deploying capital, transactions are occurring. My background is retail, so I am always happy when retail is the beloved product type, the star of the industry.
As usual, but go
So
ahead.
this is my time to shine. I know that a few years it won't be.
Becca, we love grocery anchored shopping centers. That's always been kind of
Right?
that's
I
our
know.
world, right? It's
Everybody goes to the grocery store. It's the best place.
Yep. The nail salon there and everything else. I mean, absolutely. It works out really well in those grocery anchored shopping centers. And that's always been a big positive for us.
Food, fashion, fun, furnishing, and function, right? If you have a center that accomplishes all of those, you will do well.
Yes.
And the problem, with so many malls going under, is that despair? No. Let's redevelop. Let's repurpose that area. Let's make and create and develop mixed use villages, and let's put everybody vertical. Right? If you're willing to do it, if the capital's there. So, like you here in Connecticut, here in the Northeast, are we just as busy as we were last year at the same time? I would say we're even more. We're doing more. We're working harder. Is there a slowdown? Yes. I will no longer say that lawyers kill more deals than anything else. That's not true. That's a fair statement, right? However, and this is proven out in the last 3 years, I'm sure it's this. Well, it's the same at Inland. Inland holds true to its. This is what we buy. This is when we buy. This is how we buy. As long as they stick to those principles, and as long as my clients stick to their principles, things seem to move through. And as far as volatility, I always like to be snarky and say, well, volatility, there's nothing more stable than commercial real estate. Just outlive the downturn and keep paying your mortgage. But that's just me. That being said, or rather not me, that's our clients, that's all of the above. I think given this transfer of wealth, and I think with so many of the new professionals, broker, all of them, I still see them all texting, not talking. I see less and less old school deal making in my classes, in my training. We just did a course for BOMA. I taught the Connecticut chapter of BOMA all about the use of AI.
And so people know what's BOMA. So for those out there, the listening audience.
Building Owners Managers Association. There is an association for anything and everything you do on our side of the fence. Please join it, NAR included. And we've said that before, so we won't go down that route. But the reality is AI is here making us faster, and those who can't talk on a phone and talk in person, unfiltered and authentically, I think they're going to fall behind. I think there's massive opportunity. At least that's what we're seeing.
Well, we're really blessed at Inland. I've been there for 22 years, and I think the average person at Inland is been there just for a real long time managing, and we manage everything. And those relationships that you build over the years and years is such an important part of being able to know what's happening in the world. And when you have the big institutional companies that and work with, and you're able to get people to call you to let you know about deals that are coming up, those kind of things are just pure gold. It's just wonderful to be able to have those kind of relationships. And AI is important. We're part of that world, and we're part of like everybody else. But when you're a company that's 58 years old and you have people that have been there for 30, 40 years, those relationships all around the country has been just so beneficial for when we're buying, when we're needing to sell. I mean, everything. So I like relationships.
Well, we're opaque for a reason. Commercial industry will be opaque forever. We have owners that don't want the government to know how much they own or how much they borrow. It's an opaque. It's not like the residential world where even your consumer is going to fact check you, and Google you and Zillow you and so on. But if they're using these tools, AI specifically, Zillow's estimate in their terms of service says it can be off by up to 28%. That's their margin of error.
Wow.
As a professional, my margin of error is like maybe 1 or 2, not 28. So to your point, Dan, the relationships are absolutely matter. It's opaque on purpose. And today, and I am AI enabled end to end. We all know this. And we have our own platform, CRECo.ai, host the show. We aggregate data and we use data. I still get more done with 7 phone calls on a new deal than I do checking 29 portals and or one of the 13 AI tools we use.
Becca, you probably feel the same way, I would imagine, because you have such a great personality and so many people know you in the marketplace.
Well, I work in a service industry, and there's a lot of commoditization in the industry, and yet time and time again, I'm finding that clients and colleagues have AI generating all sorts of things for them. They've got assets, like digital assets, like blog articles or thought leadership or pictures or this, that, and the other. But that doesn't mean they know what to do with them, right? Like AI doesn't actually build the plan for them. I mean, it gives them some suggestions, but somebody still has to like do it, which is
or understand it, right?
Understand it, do it, build out the strategy. And there's an intentionality that comes in what we do, particularly in real estate. That's like we all do. The goal is always to get to the deal. That's it. Like if no transactions and no business happens because of what we're doing in marketing, we're doing something wrong. That's not like, it's not okay. The goal isn't to have all of these things, to have all of these assets, to have all of this stuff. The goal is to get a transaction done. And I think most of us recognize, in any business, that the goal is to build business. It's not to be a super like influencer or something like that. Like none of us do this podcast because we are like,
we're not collecting a salary for our influencer status.
Right? Like, it's not like, oh my God. Oh, and then everybody's going to like me, right? Like, because that doesn't lead to business. We do it because we get to talk about industry and business and it's our favorite topic. And we're like siblings now. We've been doing this so long.
Yes.
Like, it's like getting together with family to talk about things that we really care about, which in our case is commercial real estate.
Yes, I live and breathe commercial real estate, third generation. I love it. And you guys are my sanity check because, the reality is the people around me see it one way and my partners, colleagues, and those on the other side of the deal may see it not the same way, but this is like your luncheon, the only place where we get this candid conversation going across the US. And apparently 6,000 plus people also agree with us. So,
well, Andreas, could you go back a little bit and talk about, you came up with this idea and you reached out and like, of course I'll join you. I mean, we had 7 people the first show, or I mean, it's just amazing.
Well, sure. Shameless plug. You want to give me a chance to just talk? I would happily just talk. and to be fair, this didn't start here. It started with Jim Fried, South Florida's longest ongoing business, commercial real estate business radio show / podcast. For those that don't know what radio is, that probably aren't tuning in here. The reality is, I was guest speaking in other places, and I saw in most of the shows with things happening at the time that there wasn't a continuity of thought or really that in-depth character buildup, because the content and copy was changing. And there would be tidbits, but it was not. Jim Fried has a fantastic show, guys. Different people all the time. I said, look, now what I'd really love to know is the industry, from the industry elite, the early adopters, and their view, and how I can do better, because that's golden. That to me puts me ahead of my peers. And let's not forget, commercial real estate. You are who you're with. Surround yourself with people smarter than you, doing things at a top level, and you'll do better. It's like pacing and running. So I started this show, over 100 episodes ago, 4 or 5 years now. And I brought Saul on, I brought Becca on, and Dan, you came on, and we found all the right people. We need one more person to come back and handle finance for us. But we found incredible people willing to share their knowledge, because everyone on this show, if I can speak for everyone, shows up to work every day and brings value to every conversation, and they all do more business because of it. So we show up here and do the same. And all of a sudden, once I started listening to the smartest production guy involved, which was our producer, the show took off. Yeah. Right? So in that regard, and there's the fact check. If someone who knows it better than you says to do something, even if it's, spend a couple $100 on certain equipment, when you have 3 different lights in here already, you just do it. And it turns out it works. And the show has taken off since then. So thank you to all of you for showing up, signing on, and being a part of it. And admittedly, COVID certainly helped. I mean, everyone was then stuck at home, and it was incredible. But this is my favorite moment of the month. We get together, we talk about these things.
Yeah, me too.
And thank you for that, and thank you to our audience, truly.
Now, can you talk about the audience? Can you talk about what blows my mind is that there's people overseas? I mean, it's pretty amazing to me.
Sure.
What are some of those numbers?
So now, hold on, you're fact checking me, and I want to make sure I say this right. So, 1 second. All right, over 6,000 tune-ins and downloads monthly. To date, 45% of our audience comes in through Apple, 27% through the web. In addition to that, we are on all major social media channels. And I will once again say that in 2016, when I was published with the statement of business will never get done, nor should it get done on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. I just sold a commercial condo on Facebook Marketplace.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God.
And this show has actually generated business. And the reality is the world is going online. And when I say online, over 71% of our audience is in North America, 18% in Europe. We've got 31% in Asia. It looks like we lost our Australia audience. Top cities is not Chicago, guys. You're Chicago heavy, but it is not Chicago. The fact remains you're in third place right after New Haven, Connecticut.
Oh.
And Atlanta, Georgia, New Britain, Chandler, Arizona, Council Bluffs, Iowa. Okay. And so on. And we do deals there. I mean, EST Properties, we have local partners in all 50 states. Inland operates now above the Bible Belt. It used to be just below the Bible Belt on the investment side, but she finally bought something in New Jersey. And
yeah, well, it's amazing. We purchased in every state except Alaska, and
Yes.
and we manage our own stuff too. So that's been really exciting to be a part of learning just how we manage. And when there's storms or whatever, our folks are so good. It's like an army. Generals are out there making sure that we have warehouses that have all of the different supplies to be able to fix properties if there's hurricane time or tornado time, and it's pretty amazing to see that. We also have those folks in our for our insurance division for property insurance. We have an army of folks that are always working that angle. And the most important thing for us is making sure to get the best opportunities for our investors. We want to try to work every possible aspect of a property to get the most out of it as we can. And so far, it's been pretty rewarding to see how you're able to help people. And you guys know it when you help someone who doesn't know how they're going to retire, and then you give them an opportunity to say, hey, like there's this elderly couple that they were going to own a deli for the rest of their lives making sandwiches. And a broker heard about the DST, and they went to him and said, hey, you realize that if you own this building in Manhattan, the deli building in Manhattan, if you sell this, you're able to get passive income, and you no longer have to make sandwiches. And this couple started crying because it was clearly the future for them. Farmers, they're really inquisitive. They don't necessarily at first believe you when you tell them how a DST works, and then once they get into it, the best people to sell our product are other farmers, because usually farmers are making 3% and they're working their tails off. No farmer ever wants to sell their property, but sometimes their kids don't want to go and do the business. They want to do something else. So when that happens, the DST is one of the best advantages that I've talked to farmers about. I've gone to we're part of the Illinois Farm Bureau. I've gone to the National Farm Bureau meetings, and it's so much fun seeing these. And by the way, it's so wild to me, you guys. I'm at our booth at the National Farm Bureau convention, and this old guy comes up to me in overalls, and come to find out, I mean, this guy is worth $100 and some million, and he's besides far. I mean, you can never in life you get taught by your mom and dad, don't judge a book by its cover. It is so interesting to see these people that have so much wealth that they've been able to create, working their fingers to the bone, and it's just the American dream. It's really exciting to see that. I'm sure you've run into that too, where you're talking to somebody and you're like, really? you own that?
It's spot on, right? And that's that largest transfer of generational wealth. I can't tell you how often a client will say to me, regardless of what I show up for, how and why, conversation will start moving, and it'll be, and I spent 30 years, 20 years building a portfolio of X and Z, and I don't want to pay capital gains. They haven't sold it because they just didn't know about the DST. Not
Right.
for lack of the show and lack of trying. They just didn't know because the broker hadn't quite told them yet. And those are the people, well-financed, well-funded, maybe not in reinvesting, at a great capital. At this point, they're just holding it. And their kids, as I said, they need to move to a passive position because in many cases, these kids don't know how to handle it, right? They inherit operating companies with a lot of assets, and the kids are really looking for liquidity. How do they get that without giving a third to the government? Well, either the parents do it ahead of time or it happens now. And
Andreas, you're so right.
Forever.
Like out of $1 million, what, like 300,000 could go, goes to the government in some aspect in regards to the Medicare tax, the capital gains national, capital gains state, and states vary obviously, dramatically. But when you get into a DST, you can diversify, go into other parts of the country. I know I gave a presentation just educating people about what DSTs were at the Beverly Hills Association of Realtors. And the problem with, like in California, one of the issues is that people might own apartment complex, but there's so many new laws and rules that they just want to get out of it. And they don't want to go put their money back into California. So if they can do a DST in, let's say, Florida or Texas or Tennessee, they just jump at the chance. And so, and then they can diversify and put their money in a variety of DSTs. A buddy of mine who's a commercial real estate broker, he got his securities license, and he was able to start selling DSTs. And he happened to know one of his good friends who's 90 years old owned $150 million worth of apartment student housing in Urbana in Illinois. And this guy did not, his kids didn't know how to run anything. And my friend was able to sell all of the $150 million worth of apartments. And he then was able to DST them into, I think, 50 or so DSTs around the country. And the family is so happy because they don't have to worry about that. You favored Billy, who's the grandkid, and you gave him a trophy property, and how come I got stuck with this old property? And it's all now just even Stevens, and it works out really well.
Well, that's exactly right. You don't have to sell off your entire portfolio. Keep the blue chip, keep the trophy, and then move everything else out and then buy into a DST product that passively is managed and handled, and it grows. And while if you're lucky enough to get into a DST that Inland has, you're in a great place because of the track record, right? As long as you're careful, and I can say that, I'm pretty sure I could say that the way I said that without a disclaimer.
Yes, it's not guaranteed, everybody. That's for sure.
Of course, and I'm not promoting it. I'm just saying track record matters.
And I need to also say our compliance department will also want me to highlight that DSTs are not liquid. That you have to be an accredited investor to get into them, which means that you have $250,000 that you make annually by yourself, or $300,000 for a couple, or you have $1 million of net assets besides your home, and that it shows that you're able to handle the fluctuations of life where you can't get to this money because it's working for you. And a company like Inland, who's a sponsor, we determine when it's the best time to sell from our experience. But people need to know that going into it. But once they go into it, they really like it, and it's been a very big positive for how it all works. So we definitely were the leaders in this, and it all the fractional share interest of investing started years ago when we bought those Walmarts, and we got the government to say we could 1031 into a fractional share interest of these things to help people that were in some underwater investments, and then it started rolling from there. And it used to be done through a tenant in common, but with the tenant in common, you had 35 investors is all you could have. So the minimums were just outrageous. And you had to get all 35 people. You want to put a new roof on, every 35 people had to agree for a new roof. You want to sell, 35 people. So Becca, did you ever deal with those?
We did. I know. I haven't heard I heard it recently. I heard somebody talk about TIC, right? Tenant in common. And I was like, whoa, that's a blast from the past. I don't think I've heard that for 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah, they still exist, but it's real difficult to have them.
I can barely get 3 people to agree. I'm not looking for 35 to agree.
Exactly. It's herding cats. Well, the other aspect of it is like Inland will go and we'll buy a $150 million apartment building and close it. It's all set. And then with the DST, there's no capital calls and stuff. But with the TIC, you do have capital calls. If you put your own personal balance sheet on the line, and with a DST, you don't. Inland's already bought it, and so your own credit doesn't have to be looked at, because there's some people, especially during 06, 07, people went bankrupt in real estate, and it's hard for them to go get loans. Well, DSTs, the thing's already there. You're able to get into it without any worry of that. Now obviously a financial advisor has to work with you. A third party works with you to verify all your finances, and if this is the right thing for you. It's not, it's not for everybody, but for some people it's perfect. So it's just being able to be aware of these things, especially for those people in the audience that are realtors, that they're aware that this is just another avenue of being able to help your client. And the more knowledge you have, the better you are. I mean, Becca, you're involved in so many organizations, and I'm sure the knowledge that you're able to bring to people is just worth its weight in gold.
Well, I certainly hope so. It is, some of these more technical aspects of real estate, it is lovely to be educated in them and to have gotten to see them work in practice. I started my career at an investment company. I spent 14 years marketing investments there. So that kind of baseline is great. Now, Dan, I don't think I've gotten to share with you that I'm not 100% emulating you, but I'm moving that direction. I am a state legislative contact this year for Illinois, for the Illinois Realtors. So I'm no Dan Wagner, but I've got lobby day coming up, and I'm very excited because it's my first year working with one of our state legislators.
Oh, that is so great. And that's one of the huge benefits of being involved with the realtors, because they have the ability to have a realtor attached to every person that's in the General Assembly in Springfield. They have someone attached to every member of Congress, and those realtors build those relationships. Like Becca, I'm assuming that you are talking to your elected official, not just when you go to Springfield, but you also reach out to them at different times as well.
I get to make a new friend. I know. It's so cool.
Yeah. It's so great. That's so great.
The top brokers, the top broker isn't just one. You're never a glorified locksmith. You're there to provide value and insight that otherwise can't be found, right? You're cutting through all that noise. But a big part of that, and I, sad to say, I think some of the new brokers don't quite get this, is in fact shortcutting and maneuvering through the deal by introducing director of economics, right? City planner, and all of the other things that just, won't happen without intuition and common sense, which, by the way, AI does not have, cannot have, you cannot program. Congrats on heading to the state, right?
That's a big deal.
State House. When you go to the White House, when you get your first invite, I know Dan's been a few times, right? I'd like to invite.
Well, I have been there a couple of times. Not to brag, but it's a chance of a lifetime for sure. And they do give you the opportunity to use the restroom, so it's really cool to be able to say you went to the White House and you got to go to the bathroom.
I think I'd say the first half. I might drop the second half. The joke. The reality is the DST is, it's mailbox money, right? And that's what a lot of people are looking for. especially as they depreciate out. Their investment needs a lot of work. Or unless you're a buy and die investor and you buy it, accelerate your depreciation, then you have to wait and sell it to your kids, or rather have your kids sell it. It's just a strategy. And that goes back to yes, there's uncertainty, and yes, I see some people leaning back, but the ones that are just staying true to the foundations, they're doing well.
Well, Andreas, the other aspect of so we do the DST. The other thing we have, the DST is not liquid, but we can put a DST into a thing called an UPREIT or a 721, and so that gives you liquidity. So you're able to you can't 1031 into something else, because once you go into a 721, you actually get operating partnership units. But that's how you're able to get the ability to sell, and it gives you more liquidity and more options. And so people are going to these UPREITs at different times. So again, you work with your financial advisor and see if this is the right thing for you. But so when some people are in DSTs and they're saying, you know what, I do need to get out sooner rather than later, then they could get into a 721, which is an UPREIT, and then they get the partnership operating units, and that's a way that people can do it too. So 721s are another thing that people can research and look into. And again, if any realtor wants to look at getting their licensure for securities, just like your license is held by a managing broker, your license is held by a broker dealer, and it's just part of the process. But we have lots of examples. If people want to learn about that, they can always get a hold of us. We can explain it to them. But it's another, you're diversifying. It's another opportunity for you to learn, to help your clients, because that's, at the end of the day, we're all about helping people and making sure to take care of folks that need it. And the people who are managing or owning their home or their second home, if you're able to work with your qualified intermediary and you learn that your second home that's a rental, if you could rent it for 2 years, and then the thing is ready to be going, it could go into a DST after that. You could sell it in 1031. If it's anything that's rental income, that you can't flip anything. Flippers aren't those, they're not really created for long-term investments, but anything for a long-term investment, which the IRS says is 2 years, you're able to turn it into a DST. So you can get rid of having to worry about the toilets, trash, and tenants. You don't have to worry about cutting the lawn.
Great tease. I like that. I always go, I don't want any more 2 a.m. toilet calls. Or aren't you tired of 2 a.m. toilet calls? Toilets, trash, and tenants. Sorry.
Yeah. Yes.
Some great alliteration on this call today.
There you go.
I'm excited about our alliteration.
Well, it's your evolution, right? So we have small investors, and under 6 million. The world lives, breathes, and grows. Under 6 million, things have to happen. You can't shelter in place. Businesses get bigger, they get smaller. They want to trim their budgets. There's plenty of opportunity there, and small deals become big deals, which is why we handle all types, right? Tenant rep, landlord rep, buyer rep. But more than that, it's 100 transactions. If I do right with you on one deal and you make money, why wouldn't you go to a bigger deal? So as a realtor, as a broker, why wouldn't I advise a client on something that will help them make more money? Because there's a chance they're going to want to spend and invest that money with me. I mean, it's a win-win-win. I'm not licensed. I can't sell them directly, but I'm happy to refer them to partners that are.
Well, and one of the things that I haven't really talked about too much before, but one of the things that is a tool for people to possibly become aware of, Art Rendeck runs our mortgage company, and so he does mezzanine financing for folks that are developers, and so people come to him and he underwrites them with his staff, and he's brilliant, and that's an important thing. So those folks that are on our audience members who are developers, those opportunities exist. For so often you need to get that additional 1 million. I think we go up to 10 or 15 million, but I think the sweet spot's 5, and those are that's another opportunity to be able to help you make a deal happen. And it's really exciting to see when people are able to bring together investors and they make something happen. And I don't know many other countries that have our ability to make capital like we're able to do here in the United States. It's pretty exciting to be able to see people do that.
Well, now you throw up a soft lob you may not even know, because I believe Beck is pretty good on that capital raising, syndication type business.
Well, ironically enough, it's also a little bit of a lob to me because I get to work with Art Rendak. So we get to
Oh
work
my
with
gosh.
Inland Mortgage Capital. So we sent out some exciting e-blasts for him this week, and I think the world of Art. So the team of professionals at Inland is incredibly special and incredibly wonderful. So I've gotten to have some very dear friends in that arena. And since you did mention capital raising, we are in the middle of pitch decks for clients with increasing velocity. So sometimes that's economic based, sometimes it's around kind of going from like G1 to G2. And that is a really exciting thing in that actually my clients that are raising capital are decreasing in age, which I love.
That's
because
great.
we're getting to work with some younger investors. So folks in their younger than me, and I don't think I'm super old, but
You mean high schoolers, like teenagers?
I'm in my mid 40s, so
No
they're
way.
in their like mid 30s, and they've already had 10-year careers. They're not inexperienced. They're professional investors, and they've
Henry's, high earners, not rich yet. Those people.
they're Henrys, but they're real estate professionals who want to do more real estate, and so they're raising capital to deploy it. And they can because they have had a great foundation. They've worked at great companies and have built that base, and they're ready to move forward on their own. And it's really fun to be a part of. Or G2, where they've literally been in their family's business and they've been cultivated, and they have been growing up for these moments in their 30s where they get to take that family business forward, as that family investment business forward. So it's unbelievably rewarding. It's really cool.
Yeah. Well, then you should always use other people's money, right? Borrow it, get partner, right? That's the reality of commercial real estate. That's one of the beauties, right? You have leverage appreciation. For your 300, you're buying $1 million.
Right. Well, and I mean, Andreas, most people you can only write individually so many $1 million checks. I mean, some people, I could write one and it bounce, but other people can write like there's a finite scope. If you have to use 100% of your own money, and nobody else gets the benefit of that. So most of the clients that we're working with, they want their friends and family to experience this success that they've had as real estate developers or as real estate investors. And so it's important for them to have a professional platform that allows other people to come in because they've been successful, right. And they don't want to keep it all to themselves, which is right. And those are the people and maybe like attracts like, but most of the people I know in commercial real estate are not greedy misers. They really want to make opportunity for other people too.
100%. And it helps the community. It helps helps underserved areas to be able to build and to get jobs, and people are working, and we have to work with our national, state, and local associations to be able to make sure to keep a lot of the elected officials out of. They think it's the piggy bank, but we're actually creating wealth and growth. And the less we can have government intrusive in what we do, we're able to make things happen. I know there's stories all the time of well-meaning elected officials that say, "Oh, we got to add this new zoning rule or this new building code issue," and these same elected officials are complaining about affordable housing, and but then they add more to the code, and it costs another $25,000 for this or that. And so it's important, Becca, that you exist as that key contact to that elected official, and we're boots on the ground. There's not a better profession around to be able to know what's happening in the community, but a realtor knows everything going on in their community across this country. There's a realtor, and it's huge. It's a big deal.
Well, quality realtors, right? And realtors has an incredible code of ethics. There are a lot of them, but you find a quality. And by the way, if they are in fact a realtor, that's already a step higher than not being one, because so on and so forth. The DST market, the realtor market, the professional market, you are here with. And I agree. I have a saying at the office: co-broke or go broke. let's do more deals more often with each other, and we all do well.
Well,
So,
and education, we were talking before we got on, we were talking about CCIM. I mean, people, I have good friends that are CCIM, which is, it's kind of like a mini, I call it a mini MBA in real estate. I mean, it's a great designation you get. But I'm really proud to be a member of the Realtors Land Institute. What a great group of realtors that know, land all across this country. They just had a really successful convention that worked great in San Antonio, Texas. They had their largest amount ever, and a lot of young brokers are getting into the business, which is terrific. But then you have IREM, which deals with managing properties. You have the folks involved with office.
SIOR.
SIOR, yes.
Yep.
So all these different groups are so important to our industry, and it helps these people to be able to distinguish themselves above the crowd. And so again, it's being a part of real estate organizations like NAR that all these folks are engaged with, and you can learn more and you become better. When they say iron sharpens iron, when you're working with your competition, you're all together and you're learning things together. It makes people stronger and better, and then they're going to go and strive to do better. And it's they're your colleagues, but and they're your competitors, but you still are able to learn from each other, and it works out great.
Oh yeah, look, CCIM is the largest, oldest, most respected real estate educational institution in my book. It existed. You said it was it's a master's or it's a degree in real estate. It's the original degree. Before colleges offered this as a course, yeah. CCIM was there. And if I'm doing business with the CCIM, with a pinned CCIM designee, I know what I get back is going to be excellent every single time, which means that what I put forward has to be excellent. And two of my newer team members are just now on the path to a pin, so I'm excited for that.
Oh, that's great.
And the reality is, every one of my team members, you are who you're with. Pick your specialty, then go sign up and be a part of that, because we do better together. We're smarter for it. Oh my God, it's 6:53. We didn't even stop for segment number 2. But as we head into the top of the hour, Dan, what's the best piece of advice you can give to our audience as we head into May? A reminder, my birthday, but go on.
Your birthday. We'll make sure to go shopping early for
it's his birthday.
Oh my God. Well, for my standpoint, it's always about being engaged and being involved with your association, because we just talked about the CCIM, we talked about all the designations, but then there's another wonderful area, which, NAREP and ARIA, and I mean, all these different groups, Women's Council of Realtors. You have people that can get, especially because they know they speak Spanish, and so this is their culture, and that's you could be working just in that area, and that helps you grow. So there's so many aspects of being engaged and involved. I would say that the best, especially now that people have the Advocacy Day with the Illinois Realtors, is a great thing to go to. You have the mid-year meetings in June with the National Association of Realtors, where you get to go and meet your members of Congress and senators. All these different wonderful opportunities await for anybody that's out there across the spectrum. And don't just sit back and think somebody else is going to do it for you. Make sure that you get involved and you do it. I know this year I'm excited that I'm going to be just have to give another $2,000, and I'll be in the Hall of Fame for a second time for RPAC, and I'm real proud of that. And it really helps our industry. And there's nothing more powerful than the National Association of Realtors RPAC. So consider that as an investment into your industry.
Because it's an investment in your career. There's money. You're not throwing money away.
Right.
There's no replacement for experience, I believe, is Martin Orchid's tagline. So I will shout it out for him. And the untold value is in the intangibles of networking and who you're with. And, while I'm not giving $250,000 to RPAC, investing whatever you can to invest in yourself and your country and in the things that matter to your business is important. Becca, over to you. And a quick caveat on the off market, on market. I wasn't saying you don't need marketing. You need more marketing off market than on market. But go ahead.
I was not worried at all about it, especially because I know some really great opportunities where marketing works and works really well. And by the way, marketing and sales have to be intertwined. They work as this beautiful ecosystem within any company and organization, including for this amazing lunch I do in Vegas every May during ICSC. So any of our listeners should feel free to reach out. Very happy to have you join Next Realty and our other phenomenal sponsors who put together a lunch right adjacent to South Hall. So very easy to get to and from the conference, take a midday break and have a real meal versus running around and grabbing a piece of something from someone's booth, which is not a good way to have a good meal at ICSC.
I don't know. That franchise row always has good, little stuff.
It does. It has lines that are unbelievably long midday. So ICSC, it's exciting this year because they're running the conference with educational programming, including the women's program for the first year and a prop tech program for the first year on Monday. And the show floor is open Tuesday and Wednesday. So it's going to be a great new format. Very excited about it. And everyone is welcome to come to lunch. We do it every year. It is
the largest luncheon being held. It's one of the largest events around the conference, last I checked.
So we typically have about 700 RSVPs.
That's great.
So, and they're from all over the country. I track, and we typically hit between 35 and 45 states represented by our attendees. So it's from people all over the U.S. and occasionally international guests as well. So,
well, and see our inland folks. Make sure to stop by our booth too.
I was going to say that's the best kept secret is the inland event, but that's an invite only event, as is Becca's, and now you invited all our guests, so thank you. And then for those that don't know, ICSC, the International Council for Shopping Centers, formerly called that, and I don't know the new name, but you do, Becca.
Innovative Commerce Serving Communities.
Is for all you retail folks out there in our audience. Yeah, no, I knew she knew it, and 25,000 people do in fact attend, and I do miss. I used to go every year. Matter of fact, I got married during conference week to my lovely wife. And speaking of birthdays and lovely wives, that is also my wedding anniversary. So shout out to my lovely wife, Emmy. And shout out to your show. So the best advice I can give, bring those you love into your world and educate. And do it in person without AI. Because otherwise it's just not, at this stage, it's no longer coming off. If your email is so detail-oriented that it could have been written by AI, your client might think you are, in fact, having AI write your emails. It's not until you have real-world IRL, in real-world interaction, or also known as human hearing, that people see the caliber of service you can provide. So that's my one biggest piece of advice. ICSC, in person, give a shout-out to your loved ones, and that's Monday, May 18th. Do you know?
It is around there.
It's that week. The week of the 18th. It's always around that week.
It is that week. It is that week. I just don't have. I closed down all of my apps and my phones, like in a different part of my house, so that I could be focused. And suddenly, you're asking me a date, and I have fingers.
That just means you're authentic and you're busy, and you didn't. You couldn't just double check it. Speaking of authentic and being busy, and where you really should double check it and join CRETech New York 2026. CRECo, CRE Collaborative, continues to be a partner and sponsor. It is the largest if ICSC is in fact the largest gathering of retail deal makers, then CRETech is the largest gathering of commercial real estate technology, innovation, and the money, the people investing in it and deploying it. So please join us in New York for 2026. Check the show notes for your coupon code. I think it's 20% off. You'll see Becca, you'll see myself. Hopefully you'll see the rest of the roundtable. Nudge, nudge. There, Dan.
Gotcha.
That's October 20th to the 21st. It's a 2-day event. And wait a minute, that also means we're back in conference season. Part 1. ULI is meeting. Check it out. CCIM has their annuals. And then second part. Yeah, it's time. It's get out there and do business. And if you can't make it, go hang or just hang out at Starbucks out front of the ICSC if you don't want to buy it. I couldn't help. I'm sorry. I want to again thank our audience. Tune in first Thursday every month live here or anywhere you get your audio. You can, in fact, even ask your smart speaker. Please do rate and review us. It really does help. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you all next month.
Thanks for tuning in to the Real Estate Roundtable, powered by CRECo.ai, your source for the latest in real estate and technology. For past episodes, sector interviews, and more great content, follow us on all social media and YouTube at CRE Collaborative. You can also find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. Please like, subscribe, and share. It really does help. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next Real Estate Roundtable.